All right, welcome back, everyone. And hello to our audience on Zoom. So, before I introduce our featured poets, please remember that we are inviting you to write poems in response to the poetry of this season's featured poets. We will then be selecting poems for our forthcoming anthology of response poems. Find out more at planetearthpoetry.com and subscribe to our newsletter to stay in the loop. Without further ado, our first featured poet tonight is Nina Mosall. Born to Iranian refugees, Nina is a poet and public librarian currently based in Victoria. When she's not writing, singing to babies, or helping people log into their email accounts, Nina enjoys exploring the island with her dog and reading on beaches. Let's welcome Nina.
Hi, I'm Nina. I just wanted to start off by saying this is my first reading in Victoria. I moved here like a year and a half ago, so I just feel really grateful that I got invited to this, and this is my first reading, and I'm among so many amazing writers. I was kind of blown away by the open mic. I find sometimes open mics, they're always entertaining, but you never know what you're gonna get, and I feel like I just got a bunch of, like a pot of gold when I heard everybody, so thank you. Also, shout out to libraries. Please visit your local library. I work at the one that's right over there, so if you ever want to come and say hello, just ask for Nina the librarian and I'll be there. My book, Bebakhshid, which in Farsi means excuse me, pardon me, forgive me. I wrote it when I was a bit younger, at a time when I was exploring my own identity and also trying to unravel my family, my parents' history. In Iran, they were political refugees, and they're not allowed back in Iran. I've never been to Iran. And so it's just been interesting to unravel their history just through their stories. We don't have records. They were all burned or just thrown away. And so I just have found, even though I wrote this a while ago, it's kind of come back around with a lot of the things that are going on in the world now. And I'm just imagining so many people are probably going to be going through and continue to go through what I go through, which is trying to understand and unravel a part of myself and a part of where I come from. So my first poem is called Ash and Yogurt. Ash and yogurt is a type of soup, a Persian soup. I say my prayers loudly before we lift off. Mikham beram khune. A man in a houndstooth jacket, whose eyes are two lakes, whose skin has a touch of snow, watches, curious to see me, hijabi. I pray for my mother, who watches a 20-hour flight. She is watching from her window for a plane to recite. Another daughter has left, another daughter who drinks black tea with her in the morning, watching the street vendors set up shop, listening to her gossip of middle-aged friends. Another daughter who helps stir the pot of ash, always requesting more yogurt to lighten dark bowls of green. Ke bar migardi? When will you come home? Mikham beram khune. I want to go home. She is watching me in another plane, or maybe my plane, but I cannot see her. Through this oval telescope, her hands, a look of tree bark, do not stroke my hair. Her eyes, whirlpools of gold dirt, do not watch me breathe sharp. We do not bow our heads together and whisper prayers the houndstooth man cannot understand. Delem barat tang shode. I miss you. This one's called Esfand. And Esfand is like this rue that you burn and it smells horrible, but it's to kind of cast away the evil eye if someone's complimenting you a lot or saying something, but they're not very genuine. You burn Esfand. She gave you the evil eye. You smile at Mother and look around the kitchen. White tiles, a spot of red, probably crushed tomato from the spaghetti you made. It's so dry. It's Iranian. The woman left the room before Mother could cast her out. Grandmother's blood-red beads, we pray under our breaths. You're so beautiful. I wish I had a daughter. I wish I had a daughter as beautiful as you. Her hair is too long for you to trust her. I won't let you deal with this. Mother takes out Esfand, seeds. You remember the name because it smells so bad, like black burning rubber. Your dad always hated having to replace tires. He wants to drive on Highway 15 uninterrupted. You can hear crackles. Mother has the stove on high heat. Aluminum cradles the reeking seeds, burning. You can smell the rubber and your eyes water. Jordan told you your food looked like green goo, but you loved your mother's stew. You look at the guest room door, exit. Mother hovers the Esfand over you like a halo, rotating it clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise. Islamic angel. She retraces your steps into the kitchen, stretching the bad smell out like chewing gum. You follow where God leaves. Chish Mashur, Mother mutters, evil eye. This one's called I Dream of Your Flowers. Even though you didn't ask, I set your chair at the breakfast table, placing brown and white sugar cubes beside it. I know you'll only bite half of one, leave the rest for flies. Even though you didn't ask, I opened the passenger door, lead you out with one hand, our fingers point home. Even though you didn't ask, I tell you that things can change, but you haven't spoken to your sister in 11 years. I'd rather see you smile, the crinkling around your eyes grow deeper each year. Even though you didn't ask, I call you every morning. It's not hard to tell you're sitting on the couch, snacking on dill-flavored sunflower seeds, putting your feet up, letting my mundane stories wash over you like the first spring bath you had as a child in Tehran. Flower petals rained over you by women in your neighborhood. I would have never known. Even though you didn't ask, I need to tell you. Sometimes I have trouble sleeping. I dream of intruders and demons seeping under my front door, flooding me. I want you to know I'm afraid of drowning. Without knowing why, there were flowers in your first bath. Even though you didn't ask, I need you to pull me out. I need you to let me ask. This one's my fun poem. It's a found poem from Yahoo Answers. Am I racist? Bad experiences with Middle Eastern people. Hi, I think I might be. Arabs, Muslims, Afghanis, a few experiences that were bad. I didn't used to feel this way, but now, in my college classes, we talk about the Middle East, how bad Iran is. It's causing me to become. It wasn't my fault. The computer wasn't working. The Middle Eastern man wanted to talk to my supervisor, but it wasn't my fault. Not to mention the whole war that's happening. I know it's bad, but I can't help it. But now I'm starting to become. Any advice? This is called They Can Call You Whatever They Want. They call you foreign to Canada, to the language that trips your tongue, makes you repeat, to the French fries you used to cook for them, couldn't find a job that didn't want you for the minimum. They call you Muslim because you have brown eyes and black brows that weigh you down, make you look so serious, make them think you have a problem. Radical must be your thoughts. They don't know that you're Muslim, that you pray for a safe life for your family, that it helps you fight the demons at night when Nazar isn't good enough, when your past floods in through the ceiling, the news, they call you other names, other. And I can't bear to hear them. You won't let me hear them. Frowns that overshadow my portrait of you hanging by the front door, Father. This is like a Google poem, another kind of found poem. I searched these on Google to avoid searching you. Why did you want this role? Responsibilities of a mother. We can't remember going to sleep. Why are mothers always angry? It's up to you to show them why they're wrong. How can we be happy when it comes with a price? Families are like quilts. Why are quilts so expensive? We weigh it all in fiber. If I ate myself, would I be twice as big or disappear completely? You make me want to disappear. Care for me like I'm not made of stone. Stop picking away at me. At night, do you stop digging? Mothers look for healthy babies, healthy daughters lost in the dirt. I can't remember my childhood. Mother did not weep for me. What does this mean? I can't remember mother told me affection is not rated from the heart. This is called Who Hears Hassan? It hasn't even been a week since he left the holy book at the end of a park bench, taking a blunt and sunflower seeds with him. He fingers tasbih daily. The prayer beads' green patterns fade with each rub. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. He sprinkles seeds on the sidewalk, tries to grow, to spell. Man komak kon, guide me, guide me, guide me. It hasn't even been a week before he decides prayer isn't his thing anymore. He wants to yell, cross his arms, and furrow his black brows. Answer me, answer me, answer me. Today, when he turns corners, Esfand rushes to the nostrils. The wild rue smells like burnt leaves, and smoke rises from him. He talks to God through blurred visions on his front steps, the door to his bedroom, the distant call of his mother. Hassan, are you there? I thought I heard you come in. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Nina. Our next featured reader is Faith Arkorful. A special thank you to John Paul at Still Point Acupuncture here in Victoria, who has sponsored Faith's reading. Faith is the author of The Seventh Town of Ghosts, out now with McClelland Stewart. Her work has appeared in Guts Magazine, Peach Mag, PRISM International, Hobart Pulp, and Canthius Magazine, amongst other places. In 2019, she was shortlisted for the CBC Poetry Prize. Faith was born in Toronto, where she still resides. Let's welcome Faith.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. This is my first time in Victoria, and I felt really welcomed by everyone. Yeah, this is a great city. Yeah, shout out Victoria. I'll definitely be back. So yeah. I wasn't gonna read this poem, but I was inspired by Nancy, I believe it, who read at the open mic. That feeling of a dog passing is so visceral. So let me pull it up here. If only I knew where my poems were in my own book. Okay, here we go. Let's get it together. This poem's titled Molosser. The jaws of a molosser hold a myth of permanence. For 11 years, I kept my hand in the dog's mouth, waiting for a rumor to exist in real time. When a child asks for a dog, they are asking for a book on love. Gave him a birthday, a world forced to keep notes on the bewilderment of his life. When Dad came home with the dog, she looked into his giant glassy eyes, convinced he crossed the water to torment her by chewing up her shoes. In bylands, she went barefoot on Sunday, God's Day. Somewhere my love grows in absence. Bereavement busies the body with bizarre hallucinations. Did you know a ghost dog never stops barking, even when you command it otherwise? This poem's titled Vacation. And on the third day, we went to Granitang, and I was still alive. Death digs its way into every vacation, and in this homecoming, I grow larger. Canada, my body, a frozen lake. This lake was poured into a volcano stuck between many answers. And for a brief moment, I can see what could be the entire history of me. My ancestors busting a wine on the mountain and swimming on the lake bed, and with teeth like sugarcane splinters, scrape the last bricks of the old church. Other strands, more mundane, are not allowed together and fade without cure. A Black girl learns to worship herself very early, tends to her own burns, to hide in the dark. After we return from Granitang, I realize I want to have it. I want, without my body having to give in to the water. I want all the love I have for myself. Let's throw salt on old and new, all the ghosts. Let's pretend, call for sun and water, love beyond all interruptions. I feel super honored to get to read with Nina. Thank you so much. I loved your work. It was awesome. I'll read this poem. It's a found poem from the first page of Heart of Darkness, a book that I have somehow read more times than I maybe should have. So anyway, this poem is called Ark. The flood was the beginning of an interminable offing. In the luminous space, the tide seemed red. With a haze that ran out to sea, the air above condensed into a mournful gloom, motionless over the earth. We affectionately watched nothing that resembled trustworthiness. It was difficult to not. Between us, there was the bond of our yarns and convictions. The best lying brought the bones. Leaning against the sunken ascetic with his palms outwards, we exchanged a few words lazily. There was silence. For some reason, we began. We felt nothing. This poem's titled For My Splintered Self. Father, my only father, no one believes me when I say you are in my life. I am always weaving you into existence without prompt, into all conversations. This work is not a position I took willingly. I have tried to separate the part from the whole, you and I. It is work to escape my splintered self. That part of me, the same parts of my being, I tried to dissect with a bushel of lavender. Father, in the daylight, I became more drastic. I tried to peck at what parts of me weren't you And I have done all of this just to escape my splintered self into the forest. Why would anyone want a body sitting beside an empty bus to prove a point? Who wants a body that has to keep making a point? Who wants a body that has to prove itself? Father, the last time I tried to leave, I took on the life of a small bird. Back home, the chickens sleep in the trees at night. My splintered self was always better at talking about death, making it funny, a punchline that never gets tired. My splintered self says to be kind, that to myself we speak from wherever we found the hurt. Father, my splintered self and my mother are talking. My mother tells my splintered self she would never go to the funeral of someone who rejected life, no exceptions. I watch this conversation from the window, from the tree in front of my house. Father, on the eve of my last day as a bird, a man plucks me from the branches. If it is you who finds me, I cannot tell. A man plucks me. If it is you or me who leaps, you have already been forgiven. If it is you or me or you, I cannot tell. A man plucks me. His large, lovely hands around my neck, says a small prayer, and okay, let's liven it up a little bit. I always try to read the sad poems at the beginning. Okay. This poem is dedicated to anybody who has a dad that drives too fast. So I even said it at the last reading, I always get nervous when people laugh a lot because I'm like, I feel like this shouldn't be such a common experience, and it is, but anyway, okay. This poem is titled, Oh God. My father is always speeding in his car. I yell out, oh God, look out, as we weave through traffic like a tightly woven braid. He tells me they need to look out for me. He is a man who believes in only two kinds of people, family and everyone else, and they is everyone else. My father breaking the ankles of teenagers at the basketball court well into his middle age. He cradles a ball with a gentleness that reverbs in his voice. My father is my father, but he is also the father of all cute babies who love him and puppies who also love him. My father snores and will wake up and tell us that he was always awake. Such a liar. Just admit it. Just resting, he insists. His eyes, his many eyes, heavy, always open, always risen. Father of all flowers in the summer. I had no choice, says my father when I ask him why he is my father. My face is his face, the way the sky shares a color with the sea. When we are in the car, we sing poorly together. We make up the lyrics as we go. Look out! I have to yell out all over again. Oh God, how I love him. His joy stretches a horizon. His joy of flowers, of raising a child, of washing the sleep out of my eyes with his thumb. This poem's titled Acrylics. To my mother's hands, part sunbeam, part cutlass, a woman digging into the soil, finding in the pasture treasure we bring to the pawn shop. We exchange for gold rings. She greases her hands with oils that warm the skin, wraps each finger in yellow yarrow, the same hands that fed me, that rub my face in the cold. She wears stacked rings on each finger. Years later, I am grown enough to be grown. I mirror my mother. I cascade into her, duller in color, unable to believe myself, to curse until I tip my head back to her again, to her holding me, parting my hair with her sharpest finger, kneading dough, to her pointing at the selection on the wall, telling me to pick a rouge for the month. Years later, I am asked, are those yours? When people look at my hands. Explain to me how it could be otherwise. Everything that is on my body is mine. Everything that is on my body belongs. I'll read one more poem for you tonight. I'm from Toronto, so we have to get a little creative when we want to see and be out in nature, I feel. So, I I won't ramble too much. I saw a jellyfish, like not in an aquarium for the first time yesterday. And I was like, wow. Anyway, okay, so there's a place a little north of, if you're familiar with Ontario, there's a place a little north of Toronto. It's called Gravenhurst. They have a dark sky reserve, which is a place where there's like no buildings around for a really long time. So like for miles and miles out. So apparently you can see stars to the naked eye really, really well. So anyway, this is a poem about up there. Let's never go back to Gravenhurst. A town with a name like a funeral home and less stars in the sky than promised. I don't know how we drove through those clouds of snow that tried to kill us in Aurelia and survived, but we did it. In Gravenhurst, our eyes never got used to the light because people point their flashlights at the sky, afraid of even a moment of darkness. You said, let's keep going towards one supernova, expanding on to the next, and so we did. We took the only star we saw home as a souvenir, rubbed our hands in sunscreen and plucked it out of the sky. It burned through our palms, rattling like coins shaking in a tall can. Driving home, the star burned into the back of the car seat, which was luckily covered by the insurance we bought had we been killed by the snow in Aurelia. When we arrived home and back into the city, we opened the doors of the car and the star tumbled down the street and through traffic until it began to blend in with the light of the traffic signals reflecting against the pavement. Forgive the beauty for its long and sudden call. I don't ever want to leave the city with my sick hands, even if the cure for life is being in it. Thank you.